Good afternoon and welcome to the fourth in our series of Friday afternoon webinars, the e-learning webinars. And what we're looking at today is the idea of communicating with students through the VLE. So I'm going to share my VLE with you just in a moment and let you see how I would send messages to students on a course that I'm running. So let's let you see my screen first of all. Okay, so that's my screen on. And you should now be able to see my VLE. And I'm on my homepage just now. And we have a course, and interestingly, this is a course worth flagging up to people, called the E-Learning Training Academy. Any staff members can sign up for this course. At the moment, it's mostly new starts who are doing this, but it's basically a 6-week course taking you through an introduction to Moodle, an online course managed by Ian Shaw from our e-learning unit. So I'm going to that course just now, and what we're going to have a think about is how I might communicate with the people who are students on this course. Now, when I'm in a course, when I'm a teacher on a course, there's two different ways I can see the people on the course. You can see them under the course administration menu as users, or you can see them in the navigation menu as participants. Now, there's a difference between those two things. Users are people who are users enrolled on the VLE and enrolled on this course, but they may not necessarily be active within the course. Participants are active members of the course. So, and also you see different information about them. So if I look at users and enrolled users, I see all the people enrolled on my course and what roles they're enrolled in. So although actually all these people are staff members, they're enrolled obviously as students for the purpose of this course. So as a teacher, I might want to communicate with them. And from here, you can see manual enrollment. So you can see that people have been manually enrolled, and so you can manage their enrollments from the user menu. But if I go to the participant menu, what you see is the activity of people. In other words, when someone was last on and so forth. And they're organized in time in terms of, the higher up the list, the more active they've been, the more recently they've been on the course. Plus, if they have one, you'll see their profile photos and so on and so forth. So this is really where I want to be able to communicate with the users on my course from. And Moodle has this thing called messaging within it, which effectively sends something like, I suppose it's almost like an email. It's somewhere between an email and an instant message. And it's a way of communicating either with individual people or with everybody in a course, sending a message to them. What happens is when you send that message, it goes to the messaging app within, or app's not quite the right word, to the messaging facility within the VLE. And if the student is in the VLE at that time, it pops up in a little pop-up window, say you have a message, and they can go to it and see that message. If the student isn't logged into the VLE at the time that the message is sent, then the message is also by default, it's stored in the VLE, so the next time they log in, they'll get a pop-up say you have a message, but it's also sent to their email account. And obviously that's the registered email account within the VLE, and for our purposes within the VLE, that's the Glasgow Clyde College account. In other words, for students, their student email, and for staff, their staff email. So the message will go both to the individual user within the VLE and to their email address if they're not in the VLE at the time the message is sent. So here I am on a course, and here are my students, let's say, for these purposes, and I want to send them a message. And I do it from this participants list. I go to the participants list, I come down to the bottom, and I choose Select All. And then with selected users, I can choose Send a Message. Now, just to note something, there are 25 users in this course at the moment. I'm going to choose Select All, and I'm going to choose Send a Message. And what you'll see is that I'm now sending a message to only 20 people. Now, why is that? It's because if I go back to the participant list, and I can use this breadcrumb menu along the top to go back to the participant list. If I go back to the participant list, I'm going to leave this page just now. The participants are spread over 2 pages. And so, unfortunately, Select All doesn't actually select them all. It only selects all on that page. So if you want to select all, you either have to do it for one page and then go to the second page, or you can come down here, it says show all 25. So I'll show all 25 on the same page, and then I'll choose Select All, which is a better way of doing it. So I've selected everybody in the course now. Now, obviously, I may not want to send a message to everybody on the course because some of those people are teachers on the course and so forth. We can either unselect them now, or I can select them when I go to send the message. Let's try and send the message. So with selected users, I'm going to send a message. And you can see I have my message space, and the message I'm going to send is very simple. Have a nice May weekend. Oops, May weekend. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is take some of those people off. So I'm going to remove myself from the list. I'm going to remove another couple of people who I know are teachers, and so I'm left with the people who are students on the course, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So now, if I want to, I can send that message. What I can do is I can do a preview first of all. I can do preview and make sure what it's going to look like, and I can send the message now, or I can update and make changes to that, and then I can send the message directly, or I can preview it again and so forth. Now, I'm not going to send that message, but that's essentially how you send a message from within a course to all the people on that course, and you do it, as I say, through the participants menu. Now, that's how I send a message to a group of people, although obviously I could have just picked one person out of there. But another way, and particularly when you're messaging individuals, is to go back to that participants list. And if it's just one person I want to contact, so let's say my test student who's Harry Potter, say I want to contact him, okay, I can just click on his name. And if I click on Harry Potter's name, I can see his profile and all the things about him. And I should be able to send him a message. Unfortunately, I've just suddenly realized I haven't put myself as a teacher on this course. If you just bear with me, what I'm going to do is just change the list of users, and I'm going to come to myself on the course, and sorry, just bear with me for a second. I'll come back to the course. I'll list the users again, yeah, which I have there, and I will look at the enrolled users, which is that, and I'm actually going to change my status. I'm actually marked as a student. That's what it was. I forgot I'd enrolled myself on this as a student, so I'm going to add an enrollment as a teacher, and I'm just going to take off that student enrollment. Okay, so let's just do again what I was going to do, which was messaging Harry Potter. So I'm on here, I see Harry Potter as one of my students, I click on him, and then I should be able to send him a message. Sorry, that's what it was. I was looking in the wrong place. There it says message. So I should be able to send a message. Do you see it's there? So I just click on message and then send my message to Harry Potter. Hi, Harry. Oops. Have a good May weekend. And because he's a test student, doesn't matter particularly, so I can send that message. Okay, so the message has been sent. If Harry's in the VLE at the moment, then that message box will pop up, a pop-up window will come up, say you've got a message, and you'll be able to see it from there. Or if he's not in the VLE at the moment, that will also go by default to his email. And in actual fact, because Harry's a test student, I use my own home email as his one. And if I look in there, new message from John Edmonston, that's my home. Hi, Harry, have a good May weekend. So it's gone right away to Harry's email. So if I go back to the course now, obviously then we've seen how to message everybody in a class. We've seen how to pick out an individual and message them. Messaging, though, isn't necessarily tied to a course. Messaging is something that you can do generally within the VLE, and you can do it to anyone within the VLE. It doesn't have to be within a course. Students can message other students, message their teachers, and so on and so forth. If you want to access the messaging facility, you can do it from your profile. So if I'm looking in the VLE at the moment, I see my profile link is up here. There's my picture there, And if I drop this down, I can see I've got the facility to go to messages. So if I choose messages, now at the moment I've got no messages at the moment. If I drop down the menu, there's the messaging menu. And if I go to the eLearning Training Academy course, I'll actually see all the people who are in my course, so I can pick them out from there. So I don't actually have to be in the course to be able to message people in the course. I can do it from the messaging facility within my profile. So I can pick out another course. I've got John Training 2 is another course, and I've just got Harry Potter on that one. I could message him from there. Also, you've got this thing within messaging. You can add people to your contacts list. So I can search the contacts list for Harry Potter, and if I search for him, search people and messages, and no, yes, there we go. I found Harry Potter, and I can do add contact, and Harry Potter is now on my contacts list. And effectively what a contacts list is just a favorites, if you like, a kind of quick way of talking to people and finding people. So I can add him to my contacts list if I want to. And students might do that to one another or to a teacher and so on and so forth. So all this I'm doing from within the messaging facility, which is linked from my profile. So go to my profile, and I can then, from my profile, I can manage my messages. Sorry, I'll just, hang on. Sorry, that is my profile. From my profile, I go to my messages there. Sorry, and I can manage my messages from there. Okay, so one last aspect of managing messages and one last way of doing it, which might be useful as well. So let's go back to the course we were in, or at least let's go back to a course I was in. I'll go back to my home page for the moment. If you just bear with me, hang on, I just need to go to my home page, and I'll go into the course called John Training 2, which is just a course that I use for demonstrating things. Now, this is a course which has only one participant, Harry Potter and so forth, so I'm not going to use it to show participants. But what I'm going to show you is that I've put the message block in this course as a quick way of accessing messages for this course. In other words, for this course, I don't have to first click participants and then try and select messages. What I can do is, for this course, I can click on messages, and I go straight away to the message facility, and again I can do that thing of then picking that course, which in this case is John Training 2, and I've got the participants Harry Potter there. And if I want to send a message to Harry Potter, I can do it down here, as you see. Hi again, Harry. Harry beginning to wonder why I'm sending him all these messages, and I'll send him a message. Now, let me just go back now. If I go back to my home and then go back to John Training 2, how did I get that message block there? Well, it's a block, and how you add blocks to a course is to turn on the editing. So I'm going to turn editing on, and if you look at that messaging block, you can actually see I've got more icons with it now, and I've got this little drop down icon here, and I'm just going to delete the message block just now. So I'm going to delete it so it's not on the course. Are you sure you want to? Yes, I'm sure I want to. So there's a message block deleted from my course. Now I'm going to add it again just to show you how you add it. So I've got editing turned on just now. I come down the left hand side and I choose add a block. Add. And there's a lot of blocks, calendar blocks, other blocks you can add to the VLE or your course in the VLE. I'm going to choose messages. So I choose messages, add, and by default it always adds it to the left hand side. There, you see there's the block messages. I can grab this block, choose that four-headed arrow. I can drag it over to the left, and I can come up the screen and drag it up the screen till I see the other blocks up there. And I can deposit underneath those other blocks, or I can put it higher if I want to. So I've put it in there. I'm going to turn the editing off. And now you see I've got my messages block in here. And what that is a quick way for me to go to messages from within that course. So if there's one course where you regularly do a lot of that sort of thing, messaging, it might be useful to add the message block to it. But to be honest, I mean, it's probably just as easy to drop down your profile and access messages there. Or alternatively, as I showed you, you can click on participants in a course, select all the participants, and drop down to send a message. So really there's 3 different ways you can send messages to students. So that's really a quick overview of messaging, students communicating with students in the VLE. One last thing that might just be worth saying to people, you may not be aware of this, but if I go to my email, I'm just going to bring up my email just now. If I go to my email, I don't know if you know that you can also email your students as a class group through email. So if I create a new email here just now, and if I go into the to, and let's say I teach an HND class, so I'm going to type HND there, I'm going to do a search, and here we go, here's all the class codes here. If I just expand that across a wee bit, so if I teach, let's say, I don't know, HND, sorry, I did HND, let me just do a search on that again, sorry to bring it up, hang on, sorry, I'll just delete that, I'll bring up my search, do HND again, and there's all the HNDs. No, so say I'm teaching HND accounting, and I know that's my class group F141A at Annisland, I select that, I say OK, and I've got a message to my class group. So out with the VLE, you can also email your entire class using that facility within the staff email. It's something I'm not sure everybody knows that we have. So again, a useful little tip. And hopefully that's what these e-learning webinars are. They're useful short guides to using the VLE and later on to other aspects of e-learning, but also hopefully we can pass on a few tips as we go along. And as I always say with this webinar has been recorded, so you'll be able to access it, or staff will be able to access it outside of the time it's actually broadcast. And if you're following it just now, then you may want to pass that message on to other staff members. Okay, thanks very much for your time. And that's the end of our webinar. Hopefully we'll see you again next Friday. Thanks very much.